A 17-year-old has become the first minor to die by euthanasia in Belgium. It's the first application of legislation adopted by the country in 2014. It allows for the doctor-assisted death of minors of all ages if their condition is incurable. The patient is said to have been critically ill, but no other information has been given. Firstly, happily, there are not a lot of minors in a terminally ill condition, he says. Secondly, doctors use a recognized method in that they put the patient into an artificial coma in the end, what we call palliative sedation. Belgium legalized euthanasia in 2002. 2 years ago, it amended the rules to permit doctor-assisted death for minors of all ages, the first country in the world to do so. In the Netherlands, it's possible for children aged 12 and older.
The fact
that we made this possible means a lot of people who are faced with a terminal condition have found peace of mind because they know they can ask for euthanasia. They might decide not to ask the question, but the fact that they can makes a huge difference for a lot of people. Records from Belgium's National Euthanasia Control Committee show that between 2003 and 2013, 8,752 people ended their lives by euthanasia.
Dr. Regis Dantois, good morning. And thank you for receiving us today in your office. As you know, today we're going to talk about the reform of the law that authorized minors to have access to euthanasia in Belgium. This law was passed in 2014 and was indeed first, or well, a second after the Netherlands, in the world. And as you know, the Netherlands and Belgium are the two only countries that authorize minors to have access to euthanasia. And it is a very controversial ethical issue. You, as political scientist and expert in Belgian politics, could you please tell us more about the political context in which the reform of the law was passed?
Yeah, you have to understand Belgian party system as it mostly opposes different type of parties on different type of cleavages. One of the main cleavages is the church-state cleavages that opposes Christian Democrat parties and like parties. And nowadays it became more or less a conservative versus progressive cleavage. And so many political issues and debates in the Belgian parliament are based on this cleavage. And this law and debate on euthanasia for minors of age has been also set in the framework of this cleavage. So it's been introduced by socialist and liberal parties, which are progressive parties, and then opposing to the conservative parties. So if you understand it as really a way to frame and to have a different vision of the future of the Belgian society. One last element is also the political context, specifically in 2014, is that it was a few months before the federal and regional elections of June 2014, so there was some kind of a time pressure also to adopt this law before a new government was installed.
Okay, so jumping exactly into that, does it mean then that there was a political pressure into deciding about such an important ethical issue?
Basically, there was no pressure. There was no pressure from the media, there was no pressure from society, apart from some cases that were quite highly mediatized. So in the newspaper and TV journals, there were some cases of minors of age that demanded to have euthanasia, but the society never, it was never a priority for the society, neither for the political parties. So basically it was a way to also for progressive parties to embarrass conservative parties, but also a way to start the campaign for these June 2014 elections.
Okay, and now do you think then that it is legitimate for parliamentarians and politicians seeking election seats to decide about ethical issues such as euthanasia?
Yeah, euthanasia is not a real normal issue like we could discuss about budget or we could discuss about mobility or transportation. So ethical issues demand a lot of preparation in the parliament, in the committees, with the experts and everything. And for example, roll call votes in Belgium and the Belgian Parliament are recorded. But not for some issues. So we don't know which MP voted for and against that law, and the parties themselves said, okay, that's an ethical issue, so it's not related to traditional socio-economic issues, so we leave it to the judgment of each individual MP to decide whether to vote for or against this law. So it's not only a different policy issue, but also parties realize it's completely different, and all the works of Parliament have been adapted accordingly.
Okay, and in this discussions and preparation of the parliamentarians and the politicians, what were the other actors that participated to the reform of the law, and what was their role in the formation of this reform?
Yeah, unlike normal legislation processes, here a lot of experts and witnesses have been audited by the MPs in the committees, in the preparation works. During months, they've been talking with lawyers, talking with representatives of children, talking with medics, representative of hospitals, people, experts in ethics, university professors, experts, all over different type of fields. I think it's more than 50 people have been audited by some preparation committees and works, because it's such a complex issues, and the MPs are not really used to discuss these ethical issues, and they didn't know what to think of. And I think that they had really an important role and impact on the decisions, because when you analyze the parliamentary works and speeches, arguments of the MPs are also based on their interaction with these experts. So indirectly, these experts have had a huge impact on the final decision of the Belgian Parliament.
And finally, what was the perception of the population, the media, the civil society once this law passed?
So as I told you, it was not really a priority before the law was passed. It was not a priority in the population, in the media or in the civil society. After the law passed or was debated, while it was debated, of course the issue got the media attention. It was heavily discussed. You had a lot of position papers in the newspapers, a lot of debates also on TV. So the population started to understand that it was important issue, it was important ethical issues. But then they realized that, okay, it concerns only a few cases per year. It's not something that's going to change their life. It's not something that concerns everybody in the Belgian society. And so the attention dropped quite fast. And nowadays, probably most of the people forgot about this debate, forgot about this law, but it passed, and probably this is the most important for the future of Belgium.
One last question, Dr. Dandois. Could you say then, since there was no civil demand at the beginning for such a reform, and that actually then the interest, once it passed, rapidly dropped, could you say then that the role of the parliamentarians and the politicians was a role of making society progress? And is that finally the role of such institutions?
It has been viewed like this. If we go back in the past of Belgian politics, looking at ethical issues, it was seen as an advance, a progress for the society. Just to remind you, for example, the debate on abortion has been introduced by a progressive party based on Freemasons debates, because they viewed that the society, they viewed the progress of the society as a more important, as a priority of the parliament. And still, in this kind of frame of this debate on euthanasia is viewed like we, a parliamentarian, know best what is for the future of our society, for Belgium, and we would like to have a debate on it, and if it's success, have a new law on euthanasia for minors of age.